Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It's your Cape Crusader Code, and we're keeping it geekly with our two new guests. We have Eddie Klinker and Jimmy Kucaj. We're here to break down The Devil Paid Men and everything in between. And dude, this was such an awesome read. I had the chance to check out the 6 preview pages. We're gonna check it out together when we dive into the Kickstarter. But before we do that, welcome to the stream, Eddie and Jimmy. How are you two doing?
Thanks, Cody. Yeah, doing great. Thank you for having us. I'm excited to be chatting with you.
Absolutely. And for everyone that's tuning in, sorry for the technical difficulties. My computer, of course, did not want this to happen, but we will always keep it geekly, baby. So we are here in the flesh. So Eddie, Jimmy, I mean, how did you two get into creating comics? This is your, both of your guys' first time on the show. So I always love diving into just kind of the basics. We'll start with Eddie first.
Yeah, sure. So I've been collecting comics since high school and reading them. And I actually moved to Chicago. I'm from Wisconsin, but I live in Chicago and I've lived here for 12 years now. And moved here to pursue like acting and comedy, where I started writing sketch comedy for the stage and for videos and stand-up bits and that kind of stuff. So that was really my writing, always on the side, continuing to read and collect comics and go to comic stores. And then I don't remember what comic it was exactly, but I was like, man, I should really just like try this. I love writing. I write sketches. I want to see what it's like to write a comic. And so I just started playing with it, started looking up different scripts. And that was probably like 2018, 2017. I can't remember exactly. It's been so long, but yeah, that kind of was the bug that bit me, was just to try my hand at writing comics. And now here we are. So yeah.
Stand-up just seems like it would take a whole different level of like courage, like just getting up in front of people and just like, seeing if it's going to hit or sink. Like, I don't know if I can do it.
I'm very used to failing. So,
yeah. Jimmy, what about you? Your art is fantastic. I loved it. It's like so detailed. I felt like it was the type of art where you definitely want to look at it and just examine it, because there's so much there. And it's just this, just how much action you're able to put into it. It's just gorgeous, man.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. For me, I got my start. I started taking it like more serious when I was about 27, but I've been drawing forever. Grew up, going to thrift stores and like drugstores for like the magazine section to get the comics that they had, because I didn't really have a local shop or anything like that for me. So, yeah. And then, I don't know, just kind of always been drawing. And I went to school for animation, and that just didn't play out. So yeah, ended up moving it along over here. So yeah, now
animation is a whole other different beast, from my understanding. Just like the amount of like frames you have to draw by hand, and I just don't know if I could do that either. You both, it seemed like, started off with such like hard like things before you got drifted into comics.
Yeah, a little bit maybe. It's one of those things where like. You kind of just find your niche, for lack of a better way of describing it. You know what I mean? Like with Eddie, it was kind of like, oh, let's try the comedy route. Let's do this. And then you slowly, kind of make it back home to comics.
Yeah.
Because like I grew up, as a kid, it was Batman the Animated Series, Yu-Gi-Oh, Shonen Jump. You name it, I was kind of diving into it. So, yeah.
It's funny. I always feel like the cartoons, like in the late 90s, like early 2000s, were like the best. I don't know. I've seen a lot of the newer stuff. Maybe it's because I'm old, jaded. I just don't understand it. I'm a boomer.
Maybe, maybe a combination,
Yeah.
But those old cartoons are just hitting the spot. So, I mean, is this your guys' first comic book, or have you guys done, previous work?
I recently, earlier this year, I launched another #1 to a ongoing series called Space Pilots. I did that with Brian Edan and Krista Herder and Michael Myers. So that was kind of another series that I had started that we're focusing on. And then a couple years back, I started a series with artist Damon Hampton. We also ran on Kickstarter. So this is my third probably Kickstarter campaign that I've ran. But luckily I've been able to collaborate with a lot of artists on short stories, including Jimmy. Jimmy and I did a short story before we did this. So that's been a lot of fun, just to kind of meet new artists and work with artists. So I would say like third Kickstarter campaign, but in terms of like comics, I've probably done, I don't know, 6 or 7, 8 different maybe one-shot 4-page stories before. So,
Jimmy, what about you? I mean, I know you mentioned you've done art for quite some time, but I mean, doing art for comics a little bit different. How many books do you have under your belt?
So I just had How I Became a Shoplifter drop in January with Sumerian, and that's with Tom Brayfogle, who is just awesome. And the list of artists that well, I'm lucky enough to have my name next to is really, really cool too. You know what I mean? They're all great. Did that a couple years ago. I did a comic called The New Amsterdam Game with Paul Axel and Sam Watson. After that, I've done a lot of anthologies. So I did Scott Snyder's Into the Cloakroom, I believe is what it was called. I'm so sorry, I should have this stuff written
Tales
down.
from the Cloakroom, I think.
Yeah, there you go. That sounds better. Yeah. I did that. That was also with Paul. Ran a bunch of Kickstarters with, or I've been a part of a bunch of Kickstarters in general, whether it be cover artists or interior artist or what have you. Worked with Justin Richards a bunch from Finger Guns and Vault. So my stuff's out there. You just gotta Google that wonky last name, and you'll be able to find it for sure. So
if you can find a copy of How to Become a Shoplifter, that is, that's
And the trade, I believe, comes out February. So
Jimmy's work is unreal.
Any more with these grocery prices? I'm gonna have to pick up a copy for real.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So you two previously worked on a short story before. What was that story about?
Yeah, that was a submission to an anthology by, I think it was like Limit Break Comics. They did like a Norse mythology type of submission. So I brought Jimmy on. You took a Norse mythology story and then kind of created it into a comic, and we made it into the Idun's apples, which is like the story of like the giant crow that like takes an apple for like exchange of something. So we did in that, and I was like thinking of Jimmy right away, just like thinking of this imagery of like a big giant bird, and like the way that Jimmy just like draws so viscerally. I was like, this is like, I really hope Jimmy can do this. And so we created that, we submitted it, didn't get in, which happens, but I was like, let's just do it. Like, let's just put it out into the world. And I'm so glad that we did, because one of the cool things that we were able to do for The Devil Paid Men was take that short story and we put it into an ash can with like the 6 preview pages, and we brought that to Baltimore Comic-Con. Jimmy brought it to Rose City Comic-Con, just to have it to hand out to people, and kind of do a little bit more of a grassroots kind of marketing thing, and just to have people have a physical copy of what The Devil Paid Men would kind of look like in their hands. So yeah, that was a really cool experience.
I love that. I love that. And The Devil Paid Men is such a catchy name. DPM. I love how you abbreviated it. Where'd the name come from? This is such an interesting concept.
That was Jimmy.
Kind of.
Okay, I think
give me too much.
He's
credit.
modest.
Don't give me too much credit.
We met there together. So the origin of the story is kind of based in history. There was these group of men back in like the 16th century for German soldiers who had these giant 2-handed swords, and they were tasked to run first into the line of battle to like take down the front lines enemy. And because they were the first in the line of battle, they're greater risk, they were paid double, and so they got the nickname the Double Paid Men. And I found that at like the Chicago Art Museum, which I thought was really cool, and that just kind of stuck in my head for a long time. And I'm not a history buff, or I don't really write through history, so I didn't feel like I could write that accurately and do it justice. So I am very interested into like fantasy and adventures, so that's where we kind of brought in like the hell mythos and that kind of stuff. And so it was always going to just be called The Devil Paid Men, and Jimmy had the great idea just to change it to The Devil Paid Men, and I was like, that is such a sick fucking name.
It's really cool too. No, you can cuss.
Okay, all right.
If your kid's watching, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, but it's Sunday morning. You never know.
Go to church.
Right.
Yeah.
So I find it interesting that the name was different in the beginning, but the concept was still the same. Like that's really cool, and I loved how you actually tied the new name into it a little bit more. Now, this is a group about a group of knights who go into battle first, and they get a second chance. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else you can maybe tell us, or is that spoiling too much?
I mean, I don't think We have kept it kind of a little close to the chest, but I don't know if it's spoiling too much because we mentioned how there's a second chance. We mentioned that there's someone in the title that you might meet. So I think you kind of put two and two together where you're heading. But this really is a story about overcoming death, and I write that from a personal standpoint of having my own personal fear and issues with overcoming the idea of death. And so this dives into the hell mythos, and we see these guys kind of dealing with a strange world, trying to get back home. And so it gets to some crazy places while also staying very personal to us. So I'm very excited for this one.
Now, Jimmy, I once again love these designs, love the character designs and just the environment. I mean, what was some of the, influences you drew from, or maybe, some of the inspiration, you took when designing this?
Yeah, so a lot of it for me was at the very beginning, once I found out about the project, I really wanted an excuse to mix like Capcom and Shrek together, right? Which I wish was a joke, but it's definitely not. I usually rip from oddball sources and kind of jumble it together. So what ended up being the kind of algorithm for this mess, right, was Konami, Capcom, Shrek, and A Knight's Tale, just kind of mixing it all together, and then accidentally started like diving really into my love of the original Yu-Gi-Oh manga. So really like, I don't know, I think the Knights kind of look like they could be their own Yu-Gi-Oh cards or something like that if they wanted to be, you know what I mean? So that kind of all accidentally fell in my lap, and now we have these 4 knights in the book, and yeah.
So how's this collaboration work between you two? Eddie, do you have like a set idea or script in mind that you want Jimmy to follow, or do you kind of let them just take the wheel and kind of, run with their own design?
Yeah, I think the collaboration has been incredible, and I'm so lucky that like when I brought this up to Jimmy at C2E2 like last year or something, we kind of set like the expectations of our collaboration, and it's been a dream. Like we have the script, but what and oftentimes I feel like as a writer, especially with the script, I might get a little too directorial in my descriptions of like low camera shot up on this person, because I have this idea of like an epic shot that's like I came to Jimmy because I've seen Jimmy's art, and that's the art I wanted. And so like for me to be like, do the art with my mind, with my idea instead, it's like, well, that's not what I want. I want Jimmy's art. I want his eye is stylistic. So yeah, we have the script and we have like panel descriptions, but it's like I just want Jimmy to take it. So literally a panel description would be like Einar punches this dude in the face. And because I know Jimmy's just going to be like, okay, let me just absolutely make this into the most like in your face hard rock, like heavy metal image in that. So that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been really opening and freeing, I guess is a better way to say it. Because for me, I am definitely a less is more sort of artist. I need like, if I can get bogged down with details really easily. So I'm definitely a bit better, I feel, when I get like character A walks into the room and let me just trick it out. You know what I mean? Like I'll set up the room, I'll, like, as long as I know the characters and stuff like that, which in this collaboration, it's been nice because, well, it's in fact just that, a collaboration. So we're going back and forth, we're talking. It's kind of like, I believe the first page is supposed to have like 4 panels, and I end up putting like 9 or something in it because I'm like,
screw that number.
We're gonna do
this.
Yeah.
So like, they're having that freedom to kind of just go like, oh, I have this idea. Let me lay it out. Let me send it over. What do you think? You know what I mean? It's been a lot of that, a lot of back and forth, and that's been nice. Because I feel like with comics, you don't always. Sorry, Eddie.
No.
You don't always. I mean, it's very collaborative, but how intense that collaboration is kind of varies. You know, there's I've had projects where I never even talked of a letter. You know what I mean? Or like a colorist or anything. So like, it's just like, here's the artwork, and then run away almost. So this has been nice in the sense that like we're playing catch. We're playing catch a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. To jump on top of that, like Jimmy and Linda, our colors, Linda Campbell, want to shout out Linda, unbelievable colorist. They have such a great working relationship together where there's just like such a level of trust. They kind of go back and forth. Jimmy has an idea of like, what the colors would look like. Linda just like nails it. So that's been a joy to be a part of and to have that as well. And I also want to like, on that collaboration, when I came to Jimmy with these nights and these ideas, I gave him some kind of basic character ideas of what was in my head, and what he gave back was just like not what I was expecting, but in the best way possible. I want to say like not like in the best way possible, because when I look at these nights now, like they influence the story. Their design, the way that they hold themselves, like how big their arms are, like it tells a story itself. Like I feel like you get a background on these characters by looking at them. And so like as I'm writing the future issues and kind of blocking out like where this goes, it's just like those designs have helped so much. It's in like this collaboration has been an incredible experience.
It reminds me, I don't even remember the name of it, but I remember like we were talking like early 90s and stuff. There was like this night set. It was a big like tower, and you had like the white knights and the black knights, and like I just remember how badass they looked.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
They look so
badass.
Down
the street had those. Yeah.
Yes, and I remember like when I was looking, I was like, dude, these are some badass designs.
Yeah.
And back to that script, it can be kind of scary, right? You want your idea and your vision out on the paper, so you want to make sure you're including that, but it's like it's a delicate balance. It's like, am I doing enough for the artist, or am I doing too much for the artist? And everybody is different, so it's awesome to hear how just close you guys collaborate. Who's the letterer on this?
Russ Wooten.
Yeah, the lettering's killer too.
Russ has been
makes it. It's so good.
Yeah, I've worked with some incredible letters, and every time I'm like, okay, let's get the letter on here, and then it really is that final bow that finally like, this is a comic. And I know like you need the words and the letters to read it, but yeah, it's been really incredible getting to work with Russ.
So I think we built up the hype enough. Let's go ahead. We're going to pull up this Kickstarter, go through it together. We're going to drop the link in chat for everyone that is watching as well. Let's get this party started. Stretch this out just a little bit. And then for everyone that is watching, right here is the link. Be sure to pull this up and check it out with us. If you're able to back, we would love to see that. But simply putting this on Facebook and Twitter costs you nothing. Word of mouth is zero. And it helps out tremendously. Letting all your friends and family know how awesome this book is could potentially get a backer, even if you can't back. So the power of sharing is undeniable. We are looking at The Devil Paid Men Issue 1, a hell-sprawling epic fantasy. Currently at $1,789 of a $3,500 goal. 79 backers, 18 days left to go. So, I mean, how's the Kickstarter going? Are you guys, feeling... I heard, Kickstarter campaigns can be very stressful, very, tiresome. Like, how are you guys feeling? It looks like, what, halfway through right now?
Yeah, a little over 50%. I think, Kickstarter's in an interesting spot right now because the normal highway to a Kickstarter campaign has always been social media, and social media is in a very strained environment at this moment. So the usual aspects of being able to just promote and get your reach and your algorithm has been a little bit difficult, but I'm very, very confident and also very lucky that Jimmy has calmed me down a lot of times about being like, we're not going to make it. We're not doing well. We haven't gotten a backer in 24 hours. But I think we're doing really great. We have some additional surprises coming up at the end of this week, hopefully. So, it's been fun. So,
I love how unique and distinctive the weapons are, like right off the rip. Like you were talking about Yu-Gi-Oh, and it looks like these could each be like Yu-Gi-Oh cards themselves too.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, that was all Jimmy, and that was another thing that Jimmy because it was based off of this historical double paid men with their giant two-handed swords. All the characters in my original script just had two-handed swords, and Jimmy's like, let's give them like their own kind of like Power Rangers, like unique weapon. I was like, damn, that's sick.
And I wanted the weapons to feel like the personality of the character. You know what I mean? So like, if you so from a design standpoint, if you look at Einar, which is the big giant dude in the background, right, the green one, the character outside of the armor has long flowing swooping hair, so I wanted the axe to be swooping. I wanted the armor to kind of feel like the character. So yeah, all of it hopefully plays into each other. It's kind of like Niles is very blunt, so I gave him a hammer, you know what I mean? Stuff like that.
And that is the level of a collaboration that is just like perfect, where, you know, you find an artist who's just as, you know, into this as you. They're going that extra step, that, you know, with the design and with the personalities. That's awesome, man. That's why I love doing this. I love hearing just how much detail and how much, you know, work goes into designing this.
Yeah. It's been great, and you can see that too when you look at the things, the weapons, and you get to see the characters come to life on page. Like, it all just kind of is one coherent story, which is great.
And this is why lettering is so important too. I just love how this right here just fits like the dynamics and like the aesthetics of the interior. Like it you know, sometimes sound effect they can look, you know, like off, or they could be like too popping, and this one just like feels so fleshed into the scene.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, this
So
was the first
awesome.
page that was 4 panels on the script, and you can see what Jimmy absolutely just took and ran with it. And like the you can just feel Niles. That's Niles there getting into a bar fight. Like, you can feel that slam into the table, which is just like so unbelievable.
You know, this is the type of stuff too that, as a script writer, it might be so hard to envision this. Like the way you have like right here, this panel, and then the panel, you know, it's almost like a quarter panel, half page right here with like the mini panels in between. That would seem like such a complex page to script out. So it's awesome that, Jimmy, that you took the 4 panels and created this out of it.
Yet again, it has a lot to do with Eddie giving me the freedom, and the script also is written in such a way where I have the freedom to kind of go like, oh, I think we can really make this first page stand out. Plus, I really wanted the first page to feel kind of epic and intense right out the gate, because as you scroll down, we'll see we kind of slow the pace up a bit and start introducing some of the other characters. So I felt like really hammering in, this is what this comic is gonna be. This is what we are, right out the gate was super important. So.
Yeah,
I really love the panel layout too. I mean, it's you know, most comics have that traditional like panel, you know, space, panel, space, and the way you just intertwine them and intermix them is just it keeps you moving, you know, across the page instead of feeling stagnant, I feel.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. It just feels like you're watching. It just feels like you can feel the panels in motion, which is just really fun to watch.
And my man got some cake right here too, serving up.
Yeah, you
know,
know
these nights are fabulous. These nights are so hot. I've been promoting them like this is a story about sexy ass nights.
Yeah.
And you know, one thing that I really love too is like this introduction to the 3 of them right here. Just the nice little, you know, the bubble with the names. I love it. It feels like such a classic, you know, vibe to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I wanted it to feel kind of like, do you remember the old Sonic RG comics from like 2001, 2002, around the time where like Dreamcast was promoting the second Sonic Adventure game? That was the vibe for that panel. So I appreciate you saying that.
I love that. I love that panel. Sorry if you scroll up for a second. That panel of the person drinking.
Oh, the drip.
Just like that drip, that perfect little drip in there. It's like, it's so cool.
Yeah, these interiors are just gorgeous, and each member, it has a distinctive, you know, design to them where you can, you know, clearly make them out across, you know, from the crowd, which I always love too.
Yeah. It was really cool to see. And then this one you're scrolling on to is like the introduction of Ludwig, who's just like the leader of them all. He kind of, and I love this introduction because he is supposed to be this leader, captain, intimidating figure, and like his first introduction is that like sprawling angle up, looking at him, just like towering over this kid. It's terrifying, and that's exactly like who he is. And so And again, that was not in the script to be like, we need to make Ludwig like a terrifying figure. But Jimmy and I kind of understand like who this character is and what he is to them and what he is to this world. And everyone fears him. And this kind of exemplifies that, which is so cool.
The definite larger than life type character is what I was hoping to portray there. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this, and right there, the name is just the purple looks so perfect with it.
Yeah, and that's all Linda Scott Campbell. I mean, she really she makes the artwork really. I don't know. I think she makes it. I think I'm drawing this book in such a way that without colors or having that collaboration with her would be really intense. So I'm super happy to have her on.
Yeah.
His hair looks so distinctive too. I mean, it reminds me of what Final Fantasy vibes a little bit, like Chrono Trigger Final Fantasy vibes.
Yeah, absolutely. I was yet again. I have to. I mean, this is right on my desk because it's what I've been looking at. So like, it's a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh. It's a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh. A lot of Shrek. I watched the next Tale again.
Get out of my tavern.
Yeah.
The backgrounds in Shrek are underrated. You like just they're a gold mine.
Yeah,
dude, there's that the catnip joke in Shrek. Well, Shrek 1 or 2, where they do Puss in Boots has the catnip. I lose it. And the pepper spray, they have the pepper and they're twisting it. I'm like, dude, this is too good. This is too good.
I think Shrek has become like a meme, but people forget like how revolutionary the animation was when it first came out, and like the backgrounds and they're like people like.
Bro, when he became human for the first time, I was fucking floored. I was like, change it back. We have J. Michael Miller. I like the art. Thank you for joining us, Jay. I hope you're having a fantastic morning. Good morning. We'll kind of just glaze over some of these interiors since you're in chat real quick.
Yeah. Thanks for
Love this coloring. And then we're going to check out some of these rewards too. Yeah, I love the emotion right there. Just the absolute like fear and horror, like, shit.
Yeah. And then the panel next to it where he's running away. I love like that little like spark that comes out of like Ludwig's eyes. Just kind of like that glare. It's also meaningful.
All right. For everyone that is watching, right here is the link. Check it out with us, and of course, share it wherever you can. We have the digital coming in at $8. This is going to be 40 plus pages as well. So is this a one shot, or are you guys hoping to have this spin off into a series?
Yeah, so we have it planned as a mini series. This is kind of our first introduction. Every issue that we planned, we're going to do it in this scale. So 40 pages. They'll be oversized, like magazine size, kind of like if you're familiar with like DC's Black Label, those kind of sizes. So because this is, we're promoting it and we are writing it as this like epic fantasy, we want it to feel epic. And I also think with Jimmy's art being so detailed and so visceral and in your face, that like a traditional comic size, I feel like wouldn't do the art justice. I want it blown up and in people's faces to read. So yeah, each issue will be 40 pages and magazine size. So we're really excited about that.
And we have the physical coming in at $16, so awesome price for that. We have the Devil Paid Men remark cover at $22. So, Jimmy, what's this remark going to look like? Is it going to just be a simple sketch of one of the characters, or do they get to maybe pick out a character?
Ideally, pick one of the 4 characters, and then I draw it up. With these, I was just doing the white Posco markers, kind of like you see in the image up there. But what I'm doing this time around is I think I'm gonna try getting the color, like all the different colors of Poscos, and just doing like a nice quick color remark sketch of them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that way they actually stand out on the cover. Just with the colors and everything else that Linda and I picked out for everything, I just think it would be a little bit easier than just have white or black pen on it. So really want it to be special for the people that pick it up. So
that's what, like $6 more. So I mean, for $6 more, you get an awesome little custom remark on there that no one else is going to have. I mean, it's they're one of a kind. So we have a 1 of 5 variant for the retail tier at $35. So they'll receive 5 issues of cover A and then an exclusive retail only 1 of 5 variant cover by Jimmy. So
Yeah.
Have you guys revealed that cover yet, or is that still kind of behind the scenes?
Still behind the scenes. Yep. Yeah, I think Jimmy's working on that. Yeah, that one we're excited about. We've had the chance, at least in Chicago, I have a lot of great shops around me, and Jimmy has some great local by him to bring it in and talk to retailers about that. That was something that we really wanted to focus on with this one, is kind of like Jimmy has says before, like making Kickstarter its own like distributor. Like we want to be a distributor for you guys. So like we will make sure that you get, this exclusive variant. And so, yeah, it's been a lot of fun to have 4 backers so far and continuously.
Wow, that's...
Yeah, 4 retailers. And retailers are a little tough when it comes to Kickstarters.
They are. We were talking backstage, I've done 400 plus interviews, and I see retail tiers all the time, and usually it's like 1 or 2, but the fact you guys got almost 4 or 5, like, dang.
Yeah, it's cool.
That is awesome. And then we have a 1 of 10 variant as well for 60. So you guys are going to be doing 2 different covers?
Yep.
Yeah, and this one ideally will be a metallic cover as well. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're pushing it out to retailers. If anybody watching wants a chance at getting one of these 1 of 10, 1 of 5 Jimmy variant covers, tell your retailer about us. Send them the link. Because those variant covers will only be available at a retail store.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And then we have a 6x9 Jimmy commission at $125. So is this any sort of commission that they want, or do you want it kind of from the
whatever
the series?
You want. Whatever you want. I do 6x9s. You tell me the character, and I kind of just trick it out.
And your black and white looks fucking gorgeous, man. Jesus Christ! I wish I could zoom this in.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's at a discounted price from what Jimmy usually does at a con, and it comes with the 40-page physical copy of it. So, I mean, it's limited to 5 because I don't think you'd ever see a deal like that. And if you have the chance to go look at Jimmy's portfolio, you'll be like, oh, I need to get this.
And what we could do is when post-production video drops out, I'll have Jimmy's link in there for you got a link for commissions or your portfolio?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so we'll include that in the description the next time you see this video posted. So we have the original, the Devil Paid Men page at $250. So everything's done traditionally. We were talking about that backstage. How long does it take you to do things traditionally? Because this is detailed. Like this is good.
I mean, it's I view it as a daily gig, right? Yeah. So I try to knock out a page a day.
I used to like to draw, and it's like when I see art like this, I just put the pencil down. I'm like, I'll never get there.
I
mean, sometimes you don't hit it. It's one of those things, but I find that if you have the mindset that you need to start and finish this page today, you get it done, or you get it very, very close to finish, so that the next day it's on to finishing touches and scanning, so stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we have 3, a limit of 3 out of 40. What's are you just picking a page at random, or do you have 3 pages kind of set in mind that you would pick?
I have some pages that are set that I think will be it's a happy medium. I'm not giving you like the page where no main characters are on it and they're only talking. So like, don't worry about anything like that. I think the pages for the price, ideally I would like to give you a page that's worth more than the $250 that you get. You know what I mean? So that's the mindset I'm walking into it. So.
And then that is it. Everything else is all gone. So everyone watching, right there is the link. Be sure to check it out. And as always, if you can't back, simply sharing it helps just as much. Word of mouth costs you absolutely nothing to do, and letting your friends and family know is important.
Training is important.
Yeah.
It's so important, especially with, like had we mentioned, of how difficult it's being right now with Twitter and social media and everything. Like all of your support, whether that's a share, sending it to your enemy, to a loved one.
Yeah, right.
So make sure you X-post it, whatever it's called now on Twitter. After going through that Kickstarter, Eddie, Jimmy, what would you like to say to anyone who might be on the fence about backing? If you just had like a few seconds to kind of address that, what would you say to them?
Oh gosh, I never thought about that. I would say give it, Yeah, Jimmy, do you have any thoughts?
I am making this book. I'm making this book with it in mind that I want to look at it on shelves and go like, this is cool. In my heart when I'm drawing it, I am just that's what I'm shooting for. I just want it to be the coolest thing that's out there. And I hope that I hope you agree and you jump on the train with me and go on the ride and all that stuff. Because this is just the first 6 pages. I'm on page 10 right now. You know what I mean? And like we're only getting crazier and crazier as it goes on. And these next 30 pages, well, actually, it's more than that. It's more than 40 pages. The first issue is more than 40 pages, so you're even getting more than what we're promoting.
Yeah.
But it's just we have a lot of stuff rolling out. So
I can tell you guys that there is in probably about the middle of the pages. I don't remember what the page numbers were. Probably like 23 to 26. I just put on there. I said, Jimmy, this is a crazy battle scene for 4 pages. And if you look at Jimmy's art, like I'm like so excited for those pages. But anybody else that might be on the fence, like this is a very personal project for myself as well. It turned into came from a very personal spot of how I wrote these 4 characters and how we collaborated with. So even just the support of retweeting it, getting it on more eyes is so appreciated to me, because I want people to read this. I want people to see like where we take these characters, and with Jimmy's art, it's just going to be one of the cooler rides that I think you'd go on this year.
Absolutely. We have J. Michael Miller. I was able to snag an early bird deal a few days ago. Good luck with the rest of the campaign. Thank you, J. Michael Miller. We always appreciate that. Jay's a huge supporter of the indie crowd scene, as well as being a creator himself. So thank you for being a part of that. I appreciate it. Much. So before we end things, I have 2 questions that I just want to ask. I like to ask kind of for a piece of advice for anyone starting out, and then what you guys are consuming outside of creating. So first things first, for anyone who is looking to get into creating comics, maybe if you were able to go back in time and say something to yourself, what would it be?
For me, I would say get eyes on your writing, whether that's having an editor or a friend looking at what you're writing, what you're putting out there. Even just to like, you become so engrossed in this, and you read it and you reread it and you reread it, that you get blinded by it. I mean, I think the first piece of advice that a writer will give you is like, get an editor. And I can't tell you how thankful we had Frankie White on here do the script edits.
Love Frankie, man.
Just to kind of help me. And the story that we had, it has turned into a beautiful story because of Frankie. And I can say that without any sort of malice of like, he ruined my script. Like, that's not what's happening. Is they're there to like help you get better. They're there to help you step back from it and see where you can get better, where you can tell this story better. So like getting eyes on anything that you're trying to do. And also just, if you're brand new trying to get into it, just keep writing. Just write whatever, diary every day. Write down your thoughts, write a poem, and don't beat yourself up if you didn't write a page that day or 2 pages. If you just went up there and you typed page 1 on your sheet and you never typed another thing, you wrote that day. Good job.
Yeah, that could be tricky.
Yeah.
Speaking of another person I love, Jimmy, you did cover for Big Hype Volume 2?
Yep. Yeah.
Doug, dude, I love Doug. Doug is the shit, man. I love Doug.
Doug was who brought me on for the project and everything else, and then Mike Morocco was the art director on the second one, I believe.
That's so cool. That is so cool. So Jimmy, for anyone looking to pick up that pencil or maybe that art brush for the first time and they're feeling defeated, doing art can be very self-defeating because you want it to be perfect, you want it to look good. What would be your biggest piece of advice to them?
The biggest thing that helped me kind of cross that was studying. So like Andrew Loomis's books on human anatomy and Bridgman's Ultimate Guide to Human Anatomy really helped me feel confident with my figures. Another thing is, I would say, while you're doing that studying, if you so choose to do it, right? Be working and getting the gig and doing the job of being a comic book artist. If you want to be a comic book artist before anyone's even paying you, while you're studying up, be doing the pages. Try to have the mentality of, even if it's a lot of people when they're first starting out, think that they have to be really fast. So if it takes you a week to do a page, that's okay. Like, let that happen, let that process happen, because you're gonna close that gap eventually, and it happens naturally, and you don't actually have to be stressed out about it or worry about it, because eventually with time, it's like anything that we do. Once you apply those 1,000 hours or 2,000 hours or whatever they say, you start your brain kind of like in a Rubik's cube, and all of a sudden all the colors are on the same side, and everything else starts working out. So yeah,
I hate those things. By the way, I can never do them. I hate them. I seen a video. This dude was juggling 3 of them and doing it. I'm like, how the shit do you do that? Like,
people are incredible. Yeah.
So we can't be creating all the time. I mean, obviously we would burn out, it would just be difficult. What are you guys doing outside of creating? What are you consuming? Video games, TV shows, movies, books, let us in on what are you doing outside of creating The Devil Paid Men?
Jimmy?
Yeah, so I'm on this kick right now where I'm collecting Japanese Game Boy games. So cool. I've been doing that, and then using like Google Translate with my phone and like the Game Boy to actually play the game. So that's
you get Pokemon Green?
Yeah, actually, a lot
of people don't even know there's a
Pokemon Green. Yeah, I got Pokemon Green at Rose City Comic-Con.
That's awesome. That is so cool.
So 2 weeks ago, I got to add that to my collection, and then I also have it's like do you remember back in the early 2000s, Mega Man had like a blue and red version, kind of like Pokemon for the Game Boy?
Game Boy Advance game?
Yeah.
Battle Network, I think?
Yep. I ended up getting that one in Japanese. So yeah,
Jimmy's just like, you guys enjoy playing games the easy way. Yeah, you think Dark Souls is hard? Try it in Japanese.
Yeah, wait till you have to translate everything.
Yeah, and I'm not really a gamer, so this is just me. This is just me being a nerd, I guess. Yeah.
That's cool though. I mean, that is cool. I would probably get stuck just at the loading. I'd be like, all right, where's start? Where's select? I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
go ahead.
Took
me some time to figure out Google Translate actually works that way. But yeah. Eddie.
So Eddie, what about you? What are you consuming outside of creating?
Yeah, I've been reading a lot. I have so on brand, but I have like Stephen King's On Writing that I love to kind of go back and forth and just kind of, that helps me as I'm trying to get into the writing mood. So I probably touch on that a lot. Playing a lot of my video games on my Switch. I'm going through the Ori games. I love Metroidvania games. My favorite game is Hollow Knight. So literally just been waiting for the song to come out, waiting for that to come out, but playing a lot of Metroidvania games. Got back into Smash Brothers recently. Don't know why that bug bit me, but playing that. And then I finished Sex Education on Netflix. I don't know if anybody watches that.
Okay, Eddie.
It is. Yeah, I'm just trying to learn. It sounds like it is one of the better shows I've ever seen. It's cool. It's sweet. It's funny. It's raunchy.
So we might see a spinoff like the Devil's Birds and Bees.
Yeah. But yeah, I finished that last night. Cried my eyes out. Beautiful.
Nice.
I've been on a weird mix, watching very graphic, gory anime, Grey's Anatomy with my girlfriend, playing Octopath Traveler. I'm really big into turn-based RPGs. Like I cannot get enough of them. And I don't know what it is about Octopath Traveler, the 2D HD, like just how gorgeous it looks with the turn-based, but it just hits that spot.
Octopath Travelers isn't like 3 or 2. That's like considered the best like JRPG.
I'm not exactly sure. I know Triangle Strategy is another one that was really good. That's like Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah. Nice.
But man, some awesome show. I gotta check out that Sex Education. That one sounds good too.
It's a great show. It is like
I got 3 kids, so I definitely need some education.
It's sweet, it's touching, it's sincere, it's funny, it's incredible.
And you guys can be sweet and touching by backing this campaign today. So let me go ahead and drop that link one last time. It is time for us to wrap up. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic Sunday. Make your Sunday better by backing this today. Hope you all had a great time, but most importantly, guys, keep it geekly.